What? To do what? Have a new building given to us? We don't want cement. This is culture what we lost and what they destroyed. Not our culture, it's humanity, it's human heritage, this one. For 5,000 to 6,000 years, Iraq has been giving to humanity all this. You can't give it to us. Generation after generation, each generation, each culture, Iraq is not only, so many cultures in Iraq, and each have tried to build up, put some stone into this huge pyramids, and the pyramids is down. I used to tell you, it's not Saddam. Iraq is not Saddam. That's the mistake you did. Everybody talked about Saddam. This is Iraq. I kept telling them, this is Iraq. It's not one man. It's generations. It's history. Why are you destroying history?
مواد كيميائية نثبت بالأرض بدت تتفجر منه وبيها. هاي اللي سوته هي. احنا أنا يعتبر من ضمنهم لأنه هو رفض يخرج شكو كتب شكو مواد. هذا أثر الكتب اللي بقت هذه. أثر الكتب كلها. بحيث تحولت إلى رماد أبيض. هون كانت المكتبة البنات الموظفات بالطرف الثاني، بس هنا كانت عبارة عن ميوزة وكراسي يقعدون بها الطلاب. الأوركنديشنات كانت موجودة هنا سرقت، والبناية هنا حرقوها.
يعني أبو الطيارة ليش يضرب
بناية عتيقة؟
ليش معنى على المكتبة؟ ليش معنى على المكتبة؟
ليش مو بالحديقة؟ لأن هذا أهم شيء بالكلية كليتي. وهذا مستقبل الدراسات العليا بالعراق.
لا هم
أعز شيء ببلدنا هو هذا التاريخ.
طبعا لا طبعا.
ويعني بدون سبب هيك، يعني أنا أخوي راح، بس يمكن من أجي بالكلية ألتهي أدرس، بس من أشوف شيء بعد يزيد مأساة.
هاي حريق بس من غير مكتبات أخضر.
من هم يعني؟
I don't know anything.
30,000 كتاب من بها رسومات أو كتب أجنبية لرسامين عالميين أصليين، أطاريح من سنة السبعينات من أساتذتنا اللي جايين من دول الاشتراكية ودول أمريكا مترجمة، كلها كانت هونك احترقت.
Efforts. We're joined right now by Andrew Lawler, who is the archaeology correspondent for Science magazine.
The idea that this museum would be destroyed was particularly appalling, given that since 1970, everything that is dug up in Iraq, every legal excavation, everything has to go to this museum. So there was untold tens of thousands, as much as maybe 200,000 objects, most of which were probably not well cataloged, a lot of which had not been studied, and a lot of objects such as clay tablets, which had never been deciphered. So the loss is absolutely incalculable. It's certainly comparable to the burning of the library at Alexandria, the sack of Constantinople, or the conquistador invasions of the Inca and Aztec cultures.
You know, the question really is, what does it mean to purposefully destroy somebody's cultural heritage? There was a tremendous amount of material that was taken from the regional museums, and I'm not sure exactly how many of these museums there are, but they literally lost thousands of artifacts, very few of which were recovered. And it's not clear who took those, whether, you know, it was simply Iraqis or there were American soldiers involved, or There was an incredible effort by archaeologists afterwards and by art historians to try to catalog what was missing, and a series of publications that were issued in 3 fascicules called Lost Heritage that were pretty widely distributed. They were given out for free just in the hopes that, you know, that people would run across these things on the market and try to return them. You know, most countries have antiquities laws. And so, for instance, you know, Iraq has a series of antiquities laws that I think were first proposed in the late 30s and then were ratified in the early 40s that largely prohibit any kind of transfer of antiquities from that country. You simply can't export them. It's illegal. This isn't farmers finding objects in their fields. This is a systemic process of looting that is going on. And, you know, this is literally, you know, armies of people. These are set up like companies or corporations. These people, they go out there in, and, you know, they have bulldozers and dump trucks and, you know, heavy equipment and hundreds of people, and they have their own security protocols. They have people out there with machine guns and rocket launchers and everything else, and they're systemically looting these places. And that's the consequence of the breakdown of law and order throughout that entire society. It's not a matter of if they should come across something. I mean, these sites are rich. You know, the idea that a lot of people in the general public may have that somehow to find ancient things is rare is simply not the truth in a place like Iraq. Iraq is filled with valuable artifacts and valuable objects and with history. And there are, you know, tens of thousands of sites probably that have important stuff in them. So talking about the evolution of these city-states and talking about our own evolution as humans in a modern sense, and by that I'm talking about a cognitive dimension. I'm not talking about a biological dimension. I'm talking about how we think, who we are, how we structure societies, how we interact with the world. The fundamental evidence for that and the documentation for a lot of that resided within the Baghdad Museum and resides within the actual archaeological sites themselves and heavily looted. I saw photos of Umma, which is a major site. It was the capital of the Kassite Empire. And I saw these photographs last week. It has been so systematically looted that what it basically appears to look like, if you look at the photographs, is it's just a series of holes. It's completely pockmarked. I believe that the site can no longer be excavated. In order to do any excavation there whatsoever, you would have to take bulldozers out there. You'd need a fleet of them. And you would probably have to scrape a meter or several meters of the top of the site off and see what you could get from underneath it. I mean, it would be a tremendous task, a task that probably nobody could afford, and probably a task that no archaeologist could deal with psychologically.